Today on Broken Beautiful Me, we're having a conversation that feels like standing at the edge of the truth you've been avoiding and finally finding the courage to look. Alan Lazaros joins us, and there is just a grounded honesty in the way that he speaks about growth, discipline, and the quiet battles that we fight when no one is watching. His story carries that rare mix of accountability, but also compassion, the kind that nudges you to face your own reflection with just a little more grace. As you listen, let his words settle into the places where you've been hard on yourself. This episode isn't about perfection. It is about possibility and the beautiful, messy work of becoming who you were always meant to be. I hope you enjoy Alan as much as I have. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Broken Beautiful Me, stories of hope, gratitude, and resilience. And I am so fortunate today to have as our guest, Alan Lazaros. At age 2, his father passed away in a car accident. At age 26, after getting into a nearly fatal car accident himself, Alan questioned everything he was doing in life. He questioned who he was and the choices he was making. He was at an all-time low and decided to change his trajectory forever. Although he had a successful career in corporate America, he made the hard decision to start his own business, helping others to get to the next level in their life, love, health, and wealth. He is the CEO of the Next Level University podcast, a global top 100 podcast with over 2,100 episodes listened to in 180 plus countries. Alan, thank you so much. I'm honored to have you here today.
Kelly, thank you for having me. I always start every interview with gratitude because I do not take it lightly to speak into the lives of other people. I think that what we pay attention to, what we listen to, what we hear, who we learn from changes our future. So I don't take that lightly. And I also want to let you know I have my pets with me today, my little dog Tucker and my cat Tiger Lily. Emilia, my beautiful girlfriend who I live with, she has the other cat, Tauriel. So I have 2 out of the 3. So if you hear any background noise, that's Tucker making his bed.
Well, I have 2 Labrador retrievers, so if they want to join us, they're welcome.
Nice.
So to start off, Alan, I just want to help our listeners kind of understand your journey, because it began with such a profound loss, the death of your father when you were just 2. And later you had another loss with the departure of your stepfather and his family.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had this near fatal car accident. Can you just talk to us about how these experiences shaped your sense of belonging and safety, and what they taught you about the ache of brokenness, but also the possibility of healing?
Yeah. So at the time, I didn't really understand any of this, but I'm 37 now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've rewatched the movie of my own life many, many times over. I do that every year. I do that in some ways every week. And in hindsight, it's very clear. So the 3 things that really shaped me most, obviously a lot of things shape us. The three things that shaped me most was my birth father died at 2. When I was 2, he was 28 in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Stepfather from age 3 to 14. I was 3 to 14. That was 1992 to basically the early 2000s. And then he left my family then. And then the third thing was I got in a car accident, head-on collision, pretty intense. Fortunately, no one was killed because it would have been my fault. But physically, everyone was okay. No permanent damage, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, this was sort of the second chance my dad never got.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 11 years ago. I was 26 at the time. I'm 37 now. And in hindsight, each of these things shaped me tremendously, even though I didn't know it. And then you kind of learn later on how that wired you, and then you hopefully can transform even more. So Birth father was John McCorkle. So it was Jim, Joe, John, Jane, Joan, Jeanette. 6 kids. Yeah. All J. And that was sudden. I was 2, almost 3. So I was born in 1988. This happened in 1991. So I was almost 3. I had an older sister who was 6. I had a mom who was 31. Everything's numbers to me. I'm a computer engineer. So I use numbers to put everything in context. And mom and sister, obviously that was devastating beyond comprehension. I didn't really know my dad because I was only 3, 2, almost 3. Stepfather is Steve Lazaros. So John McCorkle, when my stepfather came into the picture, we were trying to be quote unquote the Lazaroses. I think I took his last name around age 7. And when we were trying to be the Lazaroses, we didn't really associate much with the McCorkles anymore. And when my stepdad left at 14, and my mom and stepdad did not get along, that's a polite way to put it. And I playfully refer to age 3 to 14 as boats and BS. And the reason why is because it was the 90s. It was in Massachusetts, born and raised in Massachusetts. The dot-com bubble, the dot-com era was wild. So the 90s, if you look at economic growth in the United States during the 90s, it's insanity. It's crazy. And so it seemed like from the outside in, we had boats and ski trips and snowmobiles and motorcycle, and we lived on a lake, and from the outside looking in, we looked very successful and happy. From the inside out, definitely not. But when my stepdad left when I was 14, I went from I hope I can go to college, and I did the traditional path, by the way. So the traditional American dream, quote unquote, was preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, corporate. And I did that. And I did that very, very well. And then I got in my car accident. I started my own company. But back to when I was 14, I was a freshman in high school. Hardest year of my life. 3 reasons why. Number 1, stepdad left. Took his entire extended family with him. Never seen or spoken to a single one of them since. Right? Talked to him a little bit on Facebook Messenger. Never seen the man. A little bit in my 20s, a little bit in my early 30s. Boom. Now, second thing that happened that year, sister moves out. Understandable with her older boyfriend. The other thing is when my stepdad left, he worked for a company called AGFA. They did hospital computers during the dot-com era, so he did very well. He took 90% of the income when he left. So I went from I hope I get into college. My dream was to go to WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's like a mini MIT in Massachusetts. It's a big engineering school. And by big, I mean prestigious. And it was $50,000 a year, and this is back then. My Uncle Merle, my mom's sister's husband, was the track and field coach there. They still call it Norcross Field to this day. He's since passed. So my dream was to go to WPI, but it's $50,000 a year, and now we don't have any money. So we go from boats and ski trips. My stepdad gets the yacht and the apartment building. We get the house and the dog. And we go from boats and ski trips and snowmobiles and early Christmas presents and all that kind of stuff to basically I get free lunch at school now because our income is so low. My mom trades in her BMW for a little Honda Civic. We don't have cable. Again, we're not going to starve, but it's a big drastic shift, especially for me at 14, not really understanding any of this. And how do we keep the house in the family? How am I going to go to college? So I bootstrapped, and this is in hindsight. I had 2 trauma responses. So there's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Socially, it was fawn. Don't lose any more friends and family. Don't lose any more friends and family. Don't lose any more friends and family, unconsciously, right?
Yeah.
Abandonment challenges. Behind the scenes, though, when no one was around, it was fight. The amount of drive, it was aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Aim higher, work harder, get smarter. I became this super achiever. And again, this is in hindsight. I got straight A's through all of high school. I got what's called the President's Award signed by George W. Bush behind me. I got into college. I got all the scholarships and financial aid I could. I got my computer engineering degree, master's in business, tech company, rose in corporate very quickly became a global 1% earner in my early 20s. And then I'm in my mid-20s. I'm 26. I work for a company called Cognex. They sell industrial automation equipment in manufacturing facilities all over the world. Machine vision is what it's called. Think of it as eyes of robotics.
Okay.
I did inside sales engineering, outside sales engineering. I did my territory was Vermont, Connecticut, Western Massachusetts. So I'm literally at this point, I look young. I'm 24, 25, 26, and I'm selling to the biggest companies in the world, like General Electric and that kind of thing.
Mm.
So I'm doing very well, but I don't need much because I learned how to go without. So I end up paying 84 grand worth of college debt off in a single year. I was pumped about that. I paid off all my student loans in 1 year. Then I just put everything else in Vanguard. And that was easy for me. And I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but for me, it was science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance always came naturally. And so I picked tech companies that I knew would win. Again, you don't know, but it's not that hard if you look at the trends, in my opinion. And so I just crushed it in the stock market. Then I get in my car accident. At that point, I realize all this, and I realized that I was sort of prove myself sort of thing. Steve Jobs was one of my heroes, and he was abandoned as a kid. And I realized, okay, so I have very high self-belief known as self-efficacy. I'm extremely driven, very much an achiever. And I'm definitely around people who, I grew up around people who aren't. It's a kind way to put it. And I playfully refer to where I grew up now as the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. But I didn't know that at the time. I always had dreams, and Good Will Hunting, I think, is a good metaphor for my life. And then 26 happens. I get in that car accident, and my dad died in a car when he was 28. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm really successful now, but I'm not fulfilled inside. And I did this thing from the outside in instead of the inside out. And that's obvious in hindsight, because when you have so much pain, sometimes you avoid that pain internally by achieving externally. Particularly, that's a male thing to do typically. And I was always an existentialist, so I don't want to be, it's not like I didn't contemplate, right? But in hindsight, it's very clear that I was externally driven and didn't really. So what happened at 26 is I found 3 things that really changed my life: personal development, self-improvement, and personal growth. And there's 2 things in particular that happened when I was 26 after my car accident. Questioned my life, was definitely filled with regret. Like, what was the point of all this? If that was it, would I be proud of the man I became? I read a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by a woman named Bronnie Ware. She's from Australia. She worked in hospice for 8 years. And you've read the book, I'm assuming?
I have, years ago.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because of your line of work, right? So ultimately, she worked in hospice for 8 years with the terminally ill, and she noticed these patterns of regret. I actually have if you're on video, I have a flashcard over here with the top 5 regrets. They're all tattered and ripped up now at this point because these are from, 7, 8 years ago. But I have all 5 regrets written out on a flashcard that I would carry with me at all times. And the number one regret of the dying is I wish I had lived a life true to myself and not what others expected of me. And then another one is I wish I had the courage to express my true feelings. And those are 2 really big ones. The other one is I wish I hadn't worked so hard, which I think is only because of number 1. Because if you do something that's of meaning, you actually, because I asked Bronnie, because I got to interview her years later. And I said, Bronnie, the first one is I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. She said, yeah. I said, well, the second one is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I said, I love hard work. But I can see how if number 1 isn't done right, then obviously you're going to regret working so hard at something that wasn't meaningful to you. And so I said, and she said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, nice. Because to me, the second one, it's like working hard is the best thing in the world when it's actually something of meaning. So long story long here, that's 37 years condensed into, less than 10 minutes. And ultimately, I found personal growth, self-improvement, and personal development. And I just went all in after that. We started a company, Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. I wanted to bring personal development to the school systems and to the masses. And I wanted to have the most successful personal development company in history. And we're still on that same mission. And we now have everything you said in the intro, which is Next Level University. But that was 11 years ago. And ultimately, I was an academic. I got straight A's. Like, why didn't I learn about fitness and habits and courage and humility and vulnerability and personal growth and self-improvement and personal development? I think school does a good job at professional development. I had the
Yes.
resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, but the personal development side is just a huge gap. Not okay.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm trying to fill in the world. Yeah.
Mm, that's beautiful. And I totally agree with you. We graduate and we go out into the world, but we really are not equipped with kind of those internal lessons that will help us navigate some of the tougher times that we're going to have out in the real world. And that's why your work is so important. So you decided after this accident and that coming on top of what happened in your childhood that you were going to build this business that would help others. And you described a framework like the 4 buckets of life and the triad of health, wealth, and love. Can you walk us through those models?
You have done your research. Very nice. Very nice. That's very refreshing. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah. So the 4 buckets of life are the 4 buckets that I think we all go through and more importantly, grow through, hopefully. And the fourth bucket that I've gotten to, I actually realize now almost no one does. And as much as people might be offended by me saying that, it took me 30 years to get to the fourth bucket. And I'll start off with this. Almost like statistically speaking, very few people get there. Okay, so the first bucket is where we all start. Unfulfilled and unsuccessful. I'm going to use me as an example, but I want your listeners obviously thinking of themselves. So the first bucket is unfulfilled internally and externally unsuccessful. I was a cart kid and a bus boy for a golf course called Crystal Lake in Rhode Island. And I made minimum wage. I hated my job and I was unsuccessful and unfulfilled. And I was 15, 16. I just got my license, so 16 at the time. So that's where we all start. Yep. The second place I got to was the second bucket, which is you are externally successful and internally unfulfilled. So I went to corporate. I graduated with my master's in business and my bachelor's in computer engineering. And then I went into corporate and I started winning. I went from 65K a year to 85K a year, from 85 to 105, 105 to 125. 125, I peaked at 180 in corporate. And I was in my early 20s, so that was a lot. Mm. And I now realize, at the time it didn't seem like that much, but now I realize, like, without kids, without a family, without a mortgage, I mean, it was just a lot of income. It was a different life for me because after my stepdad left, we were broke. So that's external success. You have all the status. You have the beautiful girlfriend. You have more money. I mean, I remember at one point I was getting biweekly commission checks of like 12 grand. It was, and I didn't have like any expenses. My rent was $600. I bought a $5,000 car in cash and I just invested it all in the stock market. So I brought my high school friends to college, my college friends to corporate. I had tons of friends. I was spread super thin. I was extremely successful in corporate at a very young age. And you don't really know, like, back then how rare that is. And now in hindsight, I see how rare that is because I coach people all over the world now. And it's like, oh, I was definitely an anomaly. But anyways, so that was the second bucket. Externally successful. And everybody, you have the American dream now, or whatever dream, wherever you're from. And everyone looks to you as the guy that's got it together.
Yeah.
And you are internally like, this is not it for me. Car accident happens. And I flip the script. And I go, you know what? External success is not the answer. I'm going to go internal, fully internally. And then I went broke. So I had 150 grand in Vanguard and I liquidated all of it. I just went all in on personal growth, personal development, self-improvement, happy, healthy, productive, fitness model, fitness competitor, fitness coach. And I went past zero. And I realized, okay, now I'm fulfilled as hell, love my life, love myself, super fit, just no more drinking, no more partying, no more horse crap, and like sailed away from a lot of crap, a lot of toxic, sail away from toxic, sail away from toxic, sail away from toxic. You got to do it. It's the best thing in the world. And when you do, you're gonna be like, wow, it turns out life is great. So super fulfilled, but now I'm like, okay, now I need to make more revenue. I joke with my business partner, Kevin, now, the first 2 years in business between two of us in Massachusetts made $13,000 total. Now we're very successful. We've crossed over $500,000 per year now. So I'm very proud. I'm very grateful. That's great. But in the beginning, it was horrible. It was horrible. We loved who we were and we loved the work we were doing in the world, but we were not successful. And the truth is, most podcasters are not. And so then you get to the fourth bucket eventually. And the fourth bucket is, not only am I deeply fulfilled, healthy, wealthy, and in love, but I'm also very successful externally too. And hopefully it's from the inside out, not the outside in. And I think that's the bucket everyone wants to get to. And we have a 23-person team now, and so much revenue now. I'm so excited. I'm grateful, but the responsibility, like, I'm very spread thin. But ultimately, it's meaningful work for me. And I think that that's one of the things that I've found, and I'm an engineer, so everything's design. Right now I coach 25 individuals one-on-one. One of them is 4 times a week. So this is intense, like hour-long sessions. I have 12,000 coaching sessions, trainings, and podcasts. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because I need people to know I'm not just talking, okay? I've been doing this for 12,000 hours in the last 11 years. This is like my whole world. And you realize when you coach that many people from that many different industries, that many cultures, that many ethnicities, you go, okay, these patterns are becoming obvious. What is meaningful work for people is rarely profitable, right? That is such an interesting thing. I always say, how much would Michael Jordan get paid to play basketball 100 years ago? $0. There was no NBA. No one cared about basketball 100 years ago. Right place, right time, right meaning. It's very important that you design that, because I know a lot of people that are very successful in the economy, but they hate what they do. And I know a lot of people that love their life, but they're broke. And so you got to merge them. And that's why that last bucket is so hard, because you have to find the sort of Venn diagram of what the world needs, the economy pays for, what you are deeply passionate about, and then like a vehicle that actually can, a vehicle like a podcast or coaching or training or whatever it is for you, a vehicle that can do it and can scale. And that's actually the work I do now, is I help people. There's 2 types of people who come to me. I'll get off the soapbox here in a second. Number one is they're already multimillionaires, and they're wildly unfulfilled because they got the wealth and built the wealth in a way that they no longer feel is soul level, heart driven. That's number one. Number two is they're starting at the beginning and they want to turn their passion to purpose into profit, which is atrociously difficult. It makes it sound easy, the 4-hour work week and all that nonsense, but it's atrociously difficult. Very few people can take what they're deeply passionate about, deeply meaningful work, and actually build a real business with it. Very few people actually do, despite what Instagram shows.
So true. So you work with these coaching clients, and describe to me kind of the process, how they show up to you and the framework that you introduce to them and their initial reaction. Because I'm sure, like, coaching is, when you're on the receiving end, you have to be open to hear probably some things you don't want to hear about yourself.
Least favorite part of the job, but it's also the most important. So the unfortunate part about the AI stuff these days is ChatGPT is extremely affirming. It affirms you all the time. It's like, yeah, you're so smart and you're so great. I think growth is the opposite. Like and again, I'm not going to be toxic or disrespectful to any of my clients, but at the end of the day, you're coming to me to realize that you're thinking inaccurately.
Yeah.
About yourself, others, in the world. The blind spots. The reason you aren't where you are isn't because you don't already believe enough in what you already believe. Like, the truth is you just think poorly. And as a computer engineer, that's when I turn on my sort of, before anyone coaches with me, I have a couple criteria now. In the beginning, I coached everybody. Terrible idea. I didn't have it figured out. Now I have an acronym of people that I don't coach. It's called UMEDSI. So unstable, manipulative, entitled, delusional, significance-driven, arrogant, and immature. Because anyone with those character traits is going to absolutely hate me. It's going to be a giant waste of my time, and they're not going to execute anyway. Particularly the arrogant one. And then number two, they need to have high humility, inward humility. Inward, meaning willing to read the books, willing to learn, what they don't know is limitless. What they do know is limited, like humility inward, which is hard to recognize because a lot of people fake it, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say, oh, words lie, actions don't. Not true. Actions lie too when they're in front of you. Actions lie when they're in front of you all the time. If you're a business owner, you know that. Oh, this person seems so hardworking when they're around. And why is nothing getting done when I'm not there? Right? Okay, so humility, work ethic, that's number 2. If you're not willing to work, I can't do anything for you. Straight up. And then number 3 is self-improvement orientation, meaning you need to be able to look inward. You need to be able to a lot of people have these protectors, and I know you know this in your work. They're very scared to see how inadequate they are. Yeah. And I don't mean on the spiritual level. We're all worthy. That's the base, except that you are capable. However, your skills, your system of success, your habits, your ability to actually get yourself to do hard things, all of those things need to be looked at. And so for me, it's all a math formula. And so the moment that I meet someone, I size up those things. And in the beginning, I wasn't that good. Now we use green, yellow, red. So you were green, otherwise I wouldn't be here, which is cool. Yeah. So, cool. And you also were green. You were so gracious to me when I came late. Mm-hmm. See, if you were entitled, you'd be disrespectful. So I noticed that. I was like, wow, she was so gracious. I was late and she was so kind. So that was like green. So, okay, if you were unkind, I would have said, listen, I don't think this is aligned. Like, I have a lot going on right now. And honestly, you obviously are entitled to my time. So I would say, take care. It's been real, right? Because I've wasted so much time. It's called self-imposed servitude to thankless people. Anyone ever guilty of that? I know you are. That's why you're so gracious. Okay, so anyway, so once I have those sized up and then I'm green, so let's go. Then it becomes this system of success that I've created. And I'll try to walk you through it. Typically, I write it out on my Remarkable where you can see it visually. Inputs, outputs, measure, adjust. In the center is identity, knowledge, skills, attitude. And I basically reverse engineer people's goals and dreams. The problem is most people tell me they want X when in reality they want Y. Most people think they're at A when they actually are at C. And the self-driving car is the best metaphor. A self-driving car needs 3 things. It needs accurate current location, which is self-awareness. Mm-hmm. It needs an accurate destination address, which is a goal, clear, specific, measurable, boom, boom, boom. And then it needs updated data on the terrain. If it thinks it's a road, but it's actually a cliff, it's going to keep driving off a cliff and then blaming the world. When in reality, its mental map is off. So my job as a coach, success in business, is to get your mental map to be accurate about yourself, others, in the world, which is very hard to do. That takes a lifetime to do. And if you think about when you were like 12, everyone can think about when you're 12. You know nothing. You didn't know anything compared to now, right? That's why there's no 12-year-olds that run like global conglomerates, because you just have an inaccurate mental map. You think Santa's real and all this stuff. You basically have to completely destroy all delusion about yourself, others, in the world. And in the self-driving car metaphor, the car that I have has 1 camera in the front, 1 camera in the car, 3 cameras in the front, 1 in each passenger side door, 1 in each rear door, and then 1 in the back. And if there's what's called an occluded camera, it won't let you drive.
Okay.
Have you ever been in a self-driving car?
I have not.
It's a crazy experience. It's awesome.
That's why I haven't tried it yet. I was a little nervous, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's definitely a trip the first time. Statistically speaking, as a computer engineer, I know that it's safer. But I think the world will come to that conclusion eventually. But ultimately, the point I'm making is if you have a camera that's occluded, like there's dirt on it or something, it won't let you drive, which is good because obviously it can't see. I think most of us in life are a self-driving car with an occluded camera, but we don't know it. So we keep driving repeatedly into a tree and then blaming the government or blaming ourselves or blaming the world, or when in reality, it's just, in my opinion. And again, I know I'm an engineer, so forgive me for this. You just think inaccurately. Like that's, if I could point to one root cause of people not being more successful and not achieving their goals and dreams, they just think inaccurately, either about themselves, others, or the world, or all 3. Usually we have one really good one, one decent one, and one terrible one. So my really good one growing up was others, not others, the world. I knew the economy and I knew tech and I knew computer engineering, and we were mining for Bitcoin in 2008 in my dorm room. And I understood the economy and business and private versus public, but I didn't understand the self.
Yeah.
Right. So we all have one of those three that is like a huge bottleneck to our ability to actually be successful, healthy, wealthy, and in love.
And so, how do you help people identify which camera is occluded?
Well, first you have to understand the whole game.
Yep.
And I'll give you what I consider the whole game, quote unquote, knowing that I don't know it all. You have, so mathematics is at the bottom, then it's physics, then it's chemistry, then it's biology, then it's physiology, then it's neuroscience, then it's psychology, and then it's spirituality. And I'll go through each. So the bottom one is mathematics, which I believe is the study of the universe. Physics is the study of the physical universe. Chemistry is the study of matter, which is like material things. Biology is the study of living things. Physiology is the study of the human body. Neuroscience is the study of the human brain. And then psychology is the study of the human mind, which is beyond the brain. And then you have spirituality, which is energy, whatever you believe in. And if you know that whole pyramid, you actually know where other people don't. Now, it takes a lifetime to learn the entire pyramid, but I know it better than, statistically better than most, because this is all I do for a living.
Right.
I was the weird dude Thursday night studying Einstein's theory of relativity, like that level nerd, right? So basically, I just identify which one they don't know, and then I teach them. Like my coaching is basically mentoring and teaching, and I call it coaching because people don't typically pay for a mentor. But ultimately, they tell me their goals and dreams, and then I calculate what missing pieces, and then I have a system of success where we track priorities, goals, metrics, habits, and then they have a most important skill that they work on every quarter.
You've spoken about the juggler metaphor, the idea of glass balls, rubber balls in life and leadership. Can you speak to the audience about what that is, what that means, and how you apply it to your coaching?
Right now, my brain is trying to deduce how many episodes you listen to. This is great. Yeah. So this metaphor I use with my entire team. And honestly, in this noisy 21st century, I think what matters is getting everyone to stay focused. I actually don't think, like if someone asked me what's the number one most important thing for success and achievement, it would be number one would be self-belief, also known as self-efficacy. Building internal self-efficacy, self-belief, your ability to achieve external outputs. However, the next one would be how well can you focus? So the moment this is done in 12 minutes and 4 seconds, I'm going to reshift my focus entirely to my client Cole. And then after that, I'm going to reshift my focus to a round table I'm on. And then after that, I'm going to do NLU. And then after that, I'm going to do a group coaching program. And then after that, I have 2 more clients. A lot of people are very scatterbrained. They can't focus for long periods of time. Yeah. And focus and intensity scares people. My Kev says you scare people. Sorry. But the metaphor that you're talking about has helped my team optimize for success around the most important things. So we all are jugglers. And I say, number one, if the juggler goes down, all the balls go down. So take care of the juggler.
Right.
You got to take care of self first. Particularly my team, because they're not narcissists. They're very heart-driven martyrs. They serve first. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the team.
Yeah.
So they got to take care of self first. Most people, you don't have to tell them that. Like not a large percentage of the population already takes care of self first. Don't worry about it. They're going to be fine. They're always others, self-conscious. The people who aren't self-conscious are others conscious, and those are the givers. And givers need to set limits because takers have none. So assuming you have a team of givers, you definitely need this metaphor. So the juggler, take care of the juggler first, because without the juggler, all the balls go down. We're all juggling 12 balls. Some of my team members have kids, husband, whatever it is. We're all juggling a lot. 9 of the balls are rubber and they bounce. You can drop them and you can pick them back up later. But 3 of them are glass. And if you drop them, they break. Now, if you're going to drop a glass ball, make sure you don't drop the golden one. We have gold, silver, bronze. every team member has their golden glass ball. So Kevin's, my business partner, is Next Level Podcast Solutions. So we produce 85 podcasts. If he drops that ball, he's in serious trouble, not just with me, but like in general, because the business would go out of business. My golden glass ball is one-on-one coaching, which is why I said, hey, I got to be out of here in 9 minutes, 56 seconds because I have a client. That's my golden glass ball. Podcasting is third. That's why I was late, and I'm sorry. Because podcasting, I had to pick up golden glass balls, so I had to drop the bronze one. And unfortunately, I dropped the ball on you, Kelly. And then you were conscientious and grateful. So I was like, awesome, we're still aligned. 8 minutes late earlier. How dare I, right? So that's the metaphor. And I think that every human being, based on Pareto's principle of 20% of effort produces 80% of results, you can go deeper than that. You can do the 20% of 20% of 20% of 20% of 20%. So you can get massive leverage when you find what those tiny hinges are that swing the big doors. And once you do, you have to spend most of your time re-optimizing your time around those things. So one great example is I'm here with you podcasting, doing my most important work, while my housekeeper and her team is cleaning the home, which I'm very grateful. Her family, she's paid very well. It's a win-win-win-win-win scenario when everyone is doing their most important, meaningful work for a profit.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people get villainized who have housekeepers when it's like, no, that's good. That provides an opportunity. It's not like we're forcing her to do any of that. So it's very important to understand that you have a unique gift and strengths. And when you're in that strength zone and it's meaningful work for you, watch out, world. Because for me, it's one-on-one coaching. Like I care about coach. I tolerate podcasting. I love coaching. I would coach all day, every day if I could. And that's where I'm headed. Unfortunately, if I don't podcast and train, no one knows I'm a coach and I would never put myself out there. So there's other things you have to do, but we all have a nucleus. We all have an atom. And when you find that, you basically re-optimize everything else around that golden glass ball.
So I know that we're tight on time. So I want you to finish this out and leave a message for our listeners. Our audience are people who have had struggles like you and me and have made decisions to come back stronger, to use tools like gratitude. And I love how you present opportunities for improvement for people. I'm fascinated by it. I can't wait to dig in and listen to more episodes, to be honest with you. So, but right now, short on time, I want you to leave us with a parting message to an audience of people who are struggling.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelly, for having me again. This has been tremendous. And thank you for the kind words. It means a lot. And that would be what I would end with, is meaning. Somewhere along the line, so my beautiful girlfriend and future wife, Emilia, we lived together. We got together 6 years ago. She's a podcaster too. We're both sort of public figures, for lack of better phrasing. And I'm grateful. I'm not going to lie. I kind of hate it a little bit. I love the impact, but I don't really love the public figure part. And that's a little surprising because when I was a kid, I think I thought I wanted fame and fortune. And I think now that I'm 37, it's like, I really don't like sharing some of this stuff. Like I would rather just coach behind the scenes privately, but you can't really grow a global business that way. And so you got to kind of step and shine. And for those of you who are afraid to shine, you probably need to shine more. For those of you who are always trying to shine, you probably need to stop having a birthday month, right? And realize that the world doesn't revolve around you. But that's what I would say is meaning. Try to figure out what's meaningful to you. Because that's what I talked to Emilia recently, and that's where I was going with that. I said, okay, very successful, awesome. It's getting out of hand. We definitely need to button up. There's so much responsibility, 85 podcasts, and it's growing like crazy. And I'm very grateful, right? 2 ways business fails though. Number one, it doesn't grow fast enough. That's most businesses. The other one is it grows too fast. You can't handle it and you overextend. And we're headed that way, which again, I'm grateful, but we gotta be humble here. So I told Emilia, I said, I think I just want to reorient my life around meaning. Like some of the things that I post, I don't really care about. And I think I want to stop doing that. Like what the world values bothers me. It bothers me. Like I don't care. It's very hard to find the Venn diagram between what people value, what you value, and then what you can get paid to do. And you got to find sort of that sweet spot in the middle. And it's very hard to do when I remember I gave a speech at a high school once, and we went to career day, and we were the podcasters. We were teaching them about podcasting and how to have a voice and how to speak and how to put yourself out there and the courage that takes and the vulnerability and how to be a public figure, but do it with class and be respectful. And at the end, they literally, I kid you not, a girl raises her hand in the back. She says, "What do you think about what's going on with Kim and Kanye right now?"
Wow.
And I was like, honestly, I don't think about what's going on with Kim and Kanye. So I don't have anything to say about that. Here's my truth. That young lady's in trouble. If you are more focused on what's going on with the Kardashians than you are about your own future, your future is not going to be bright. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm saying that because that's the truth. And so at the end of the day, we got to get our values right. We gotta try to take care of our own world, and we need to learn the virtuous path. And I'm not trying to preach from a soapbox. I'm not perfect either, but I'm definitely better than I used to be, but not as good as I'm going to be. And there is a path forward that isn't shiny objects and nonsense. So I think meaning is what we should tether to. And when you do find what's most meaningful, I do think that on the other end of that, you'll be so motivated that you'll end up more successful in the long run. In the long run is the key, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because that is one of the things that I teach is finding meaning in the loss, finding purpose in the pain. So that I think that hits home in such a huge way for me. Alan, I hope we can chat again in the future. I just feel so thankful that you came to be on my little podcast, and you've shared so much wisdom in a very short amount of time, and I'm just very thankful to you.
Kelly, thank you for having me. It was tremendous, and I will come back anytime. We'll do a round two anytime you want, because you're very clearly such a person who obviously wants to spread goodness. I know we talked off air a little bit about what you've been through and the losses that you've suffered. So you obviously have found a way to make that meaningful and to do good work in the world as a byproduct. And I also have, because a lot of the pain can be transformed into something good if you work on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for being with me, and I'm looking forward to having you back a second time.
As am I. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, take care.